Thanks for joining us this morning. We had a little difficulty, but we fixed it. But let's dive into it. Coach, at what age did you start reading Think and Grow Rich, and how has it changed your life so far?
23 actually, when I started reading the Growing Rich, and it really, Think and Grow Rich changed my life. Is because I met Jim Rohn at that point, and he told me you need to read the book. So I started reading the book, and definitely I became a young entrepreneur at the age of 24. Opened an international company, helping people around the world, ending up with a company in New York at the age of 29 or 30, something like that. And from there, the sky was the limit, actually, in the last, I would say,
Well, let me ask you. So you said you met Jim Rohn when he was alive?
Yes, at the age of 24, I met Jim Rohn in Philly. So I was very fortunate to actually...
You want to know something? You want to know something cool?
Yeah.
My grandpa passed away, I want to say about 12 years ago. And he's buried in a cemetery, which is about 20, no, not 20, maybe like 15 miles away from my house. It's called Forest Lawn.
Yeah.
And Jim Rohn is buried there also too.
Wow, that's so incredible.
So Jim Rohn is buried about 15 miles from my house. So every week I follow people and I look up the hashtag. There are so many people that go to the cemetery, they go take flowers, different things, and they just go visit the burial center where they have over there, where they give tribute to his work. So if you Google it on Google or Instagram, you see a lot of people. That's like 15 miles from my house.
Wow.
I probably have all of his materials and everything else, but that's so crazy that he's buried. And you're very fortunate. I mean, you look like you're only 25, 26 yourself. So
thank you. I wish that I would be that age right now. Definitely a lot of things, maybe I would be listening to him more than I did, and I wouldn't be so stubborn in so many ways. But
that's awesome. So tell us, what were the one or two things that you got out of the Think and Grow Rich book that you think are very important for entrepreneurs?
Okay, so I will start first of all with the mind. That what you think you can achieve. And I know that a lot of us, we think like, if I will stay like this and I will start thinking something positive will happen. No, it's basically the actions that you take behind your thoughts, because first it comes the thought and the goal, like Napoleon Hill said, but that comes with a desire. And he emphasized desires in Think and Grow Rich, how important is the desire, because the desire will make it happen. The desire, if you have a strong desire, you'll reach a high goal. If you have a low desire, you'll reach a low goal. So it's something that, as well as Napoleon Hill as Jim Rohn, he always said the action will determine your dreams, if you achieve them or not. So it was the first thing when I read the book, I was like, oh my God, it's actually what we think we can achieve. I'm a former athlete. I've been a gymnast and 13 years. And I remember that my coach, what he did with us growing up, you know, and competing before we went in competition, he always told, like, close your eyes and imagine the routine. You have it first in your mind. So when
that's so crazy.
Yeah.
That's so crazy that you say that. Last night we had a mastermind group. That's why my eyes are puffy. I slept really late last night. We had a mastermind group, and one of our mastermind group is Coach Freddie, and he's a gymnast. And we were talking about it last night that before he was gonna go and compete, he would visually do the routine. And this is the crazy thing. You probably know it. I'm just saying it for me.
Yeah, no, it's totally crazy. Yes, it's true, because it was one of the things that when I read the book, like, I think it was 3-4 years after I retired, I was looking, I was like, oh my God, I think it's familiar. And I didn't know why it sounded so familiar at that point. And I was like, yeah, I think I know now why it's so familiar with me, because I used to do those things, you know, growing up. So that was the first thing that I realized when I read the book. I was like, yeah, the thoughts controls what happens in our life. Doesn't matter that it's good or bad. And I know that people think like, how can I attract something bad? You do that because you are thinking, I don't want to happen. I don't want to happen. I want to get out of here. And when you think I want to get out of here, what you do, you try to prove yourself what you are there. It's very interesting how the mind will be right there, because that's your desire. Yeah. So when you focus just on what you want, and that's Napoleon Hill in his book says, focus on what you want and make a plan behind it. Like, make sure that you envision that goal, you leave that goal, you touch that goal, and that's where everything started. Once you touch it, then you can take the action, because it's not just about seeing it, it's about what action do I take it. So that's very, very important. That's the first thing that I learned from him.
I agree with that 100%. If you see it here, then you put it on paper, you put action behind it, anything is possible. And that's what Coach Freddie was talking about. And one another thing that he said, that he wasn't looking at other competitors or the people that went before him or after him. And one of the things was because he didn't want to mess up the image that he had. He had a perfect routine here, and he didn't want to look at somebody messing it up or somebody doing better than him. He just wanted to do his. So he's got that. He's a plastic surgeon also too, but we do a lot of stuff together. So he's a gymnast, and those are tough people, and your body goes through so much. It's brutal. A lot of people look at it, you know, you do flips, you do different things. To us, it looks good, beautiful, or you like it. But that thing is not easy. That's a lot of serious work, mental activity. It's you have to I think Think and Grow Rich will work really good for gymnasts if they read this, because they need it, and if they want to compete.
Exactly. It's so much value that it brings to it, and everything that we learn as athletes, and especially in any sports, but I think in gymnastics in general, because we start so young and we need to transform our mind in order to compete and to get to the high levels. Because if you start doing trade-offs, and it's another things that Napoleon Hill talks about it, because in order to go and to reach your goals, you will need to do trade-offs. And a lot of people say, okay, but I want to have that house, I want to have that job, I want to have that success. The problem is not a lot of them, they're willing to do the trade-offs that it takes to get to that goal, to get to that success, to get to that whatever you want to reach, job, house, car, whatever you want. It comes with that trade-offs, and that's what I want everyone to understand. And Napoleon Hill, I think in his book, says it's so clear. You have the goal, what are your trade-offs? And I'll give you a simple example. For us athletes, it was like I had to wake up at 5, go to training, go to school. I had a regular school. I had to be a B+, A+ student in order to be part of the team, go home, do my homework, go back to training. And you didn't have time to play. So that was a trade-off that I learned it at the age of 8 when I asked my coach. I was like, listen, why can't I play with other kids? And he was like, you want the medal or you want to be like everyone else?
I can imagine the way you asked the question.
Yeah.
I can, Coach, I want to go play. Like, what's going on? That's so cool.
It's kind of cool, but reading the book for me was a lot of similarities that I found, something that I lived in sports. You know, it was so weird because that was Napoleon Hill says that with the same wording. What are your trade-offs? What are you willing to do in order to achieve? So when you have your goal, you write your actions, like he said, but then write what I'm willing to do in order to achieve that. Because if you do that compromise, if you write it on paper, what you will do it. Otherwise, you will give up because you will start being difficult.
I agree with that 100%.
So
but let me ask you a question. Coach, how did you change from being an athlete to entrepreneurship? What was that transition? Give us the short version. How did you just wake up one day, you said, I want to go in business? Is that how it happened? Or what was the reasoning behind it?
It's very weird. As an athlete, you feel lost once you retired. Is the most thing that you feel like you don't have the same purpose in life, and you cannot really fit in. And because I work with athletes a lot, I find that is something common for all of us. We don't fit in and go into the office and just, you know, go home. Like, really, we want a purpose. So when I met Jim Rohn, he said, what is your purpose? And I used to hide that I was a gymnast. And he was like, what is your purpose? I was like, I don't know. What do you mean? He was like, what do you want to do? What do you love? It was his question. And I'll never forget it. And I said, I love people. So then end up helping people. And I was like, just like that? He was like, just like that. And how do you do that? And he said, look, you have this option. Working on, you have the option entrepreneurship, where you build it, where you work for it. So I related more with entrepreneurship, because even if it's hustle and hard, the reward is different. So I was going after the rewards, and because that's what I always train for, go for the rewards.
Awesome. So when are you writing your book about your conversation with Jim Rohn? When are you writing that book?
Actually, I'm starting in a book. I'll give you that. We started, actually, I'm working. It's funny that you're asking. We started like 3 weeks ago. I'm already in collaboration with a really good friend. She is sketching everything out. And we'll have a writer who will help me, that I'll share everything that I learned along the way as being an athlete, as meeting my Jim Ron and how he changed my life.
That is crazy. You're so privileged that you met him. I will pay right now thousands of dollars to just be, I mean, that's so cool. Just having the, having pictures, having video and audio is different. But when you actually have met someone like that, that has changed so many people's, I mean, think about it. He's still till today, he's changing people's lives. And he was one of those modern motivator, inspirational guy. He definitely could give a plan for individuals to follow where they could succeed. So I'm very, very excited about that. Listen, I want to thank you for this time, but we're not done. I'm going to do this again because I know you do a lot in health and especially with athletes. I know you do that. That's your business. I will want to maybe collaborate. I'm going to make sure either Hana or Q contact you where we do another video where we go really in depth in that, because I think your health becomes your wealth. And if you're not healthy, it doesn't work. So I think that that's very important for a lot of people. And I've seen with my own eyes, a lot of entrepreneurs, they focus too much on their business to make money and develop their business, but sometimes they lack on the other areas that we're going to need help. So I'm going to definitely come back to you, and maybe we could sit down. And I want the first copy of signed book. I was the first one that interviewed you about the book. Don't forget that.
No,
I want the first one.
I'm not forgetting that. Actually, it's true, because this will be live, and actually I want to come once that the book is finished. I want to come live again with all of you guys, and it was an honor to be with you. And one thing that I want to let you today with, as an entrepreneur and as someone who read the book multiple times at different ages, and I would recommend that to everyone to do it, to reread the book, because you'll understand it differently at different times into your life. And it will help you differently at different times into your life. But remember, never chase the money. Chase the dreams, not the money, because the money are coming once that you go after your dreams. So that would be my biggest advice, that I would say that I took it away from.
And where are you located if people want to, I mean, which state are you? Are you in New York?
I'm in New York City. We have an office in Manhattan, and we also have an office on the West Coast. Actually in Beverly Hills for years in there. So yes, we are bi-coastal, but we do a lot of online work with everyone, and we are growing the team consistently.
Listen, I appreciate you being here. You and I are going to be in contact. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much. Love you guys. Bye.